But we had a comment that came in that said, well, that's easy for this person to say because this person's a professional screenwriter and it's their job to write all day. It makes sense to say it's your job, kind of like get over it, just do it. But most people that watch the Film Courage channel, which it's very nice that they thought that, are not professional screenwriters. They actually have jobs.
Sure.
Other jobs have to pay the bills. Screenwriting is a hobby for them at best while they sort of make the two worlds work.
Sure.
And that I get. So no, you don't have to write every day to be a writer.
I don't write every day. I do when I'm on assignment, and then when I'm not, I'm kind of exhausted. And the last year has been crazy. I mean, with like 6 movies, so it's like almost every 3 months a turnaround. So but it's fantastic because I was constantly writing, but it's draining. And it's almost like I want to go do something else and stop. And they say, well, when you stop the assignment, you want to go work on your spec. It's like, not right now, because I don't have the time, you know. But you have to manage your time, you know. You really do, and there's no excuse. I've had to do it when I was in college in film school. I was working 4 to 5 nights a week in a restaurant, but I had friends who went to film school or any college and they could just go to school. They had the luxury of living at home. Their parents paid for everything. I had to pay my bills, you know. But I think that trained me into really sectioning my time, not just, you know, because yeah, you can go to parties and all this stuff. And I was not only making movies in film school, but I was also, after day class, I had to go down. I was working in Westwood here and work a 5-hour shift and then come home. So it really trained me for that. And there's a million excuses why we don't want to write. I mean, truthfully, and when it's difficult, even more. Oh, well, you know, like I said, I never have, the house is never as clean as when I'm, you know, procrastination. But, you know, again, the movie I just turned in last week on assignment was my 35th screenplay. I'm still learning. I still respect the craft and bow down to it because I learn something every time out. Every project's different. Every producer, company you work with, it's a whole different scenario each time. Yes, you know how it works a lot better. I look at old scripts now, and like my 4th spec, my 5th one sold. The 4th one made some noise. We met with the A-list, you know, actor about it. This is a million years ago. But I look back at that script and I was like, if I could only go back and rewrite that with what I know now. But you only have the knowledge that you have at this exact moment in time, and you can't live with regret. So study, get better, write more screenplays. But yes, writers write, but I don't think you should feel guilty if you're not, you know, writing every day. But don't let it go 2 days, because 2 leads to 4, 4 leads to week. This weekend we got something going on. You have to schedule it. And I always say to aspiring screenwriters, treat it like your job, because it will be. You don't have the luxury of, when you write your specs, to go, I'm gonna go off today. Work on it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. But that constant is what's gonna happen when you get the assignment jobs. And you know, you don't want to be shocked when suddenly you get this opportunity, you're hired to write a movie, and you can't physically sit there for 8 hours a day, or you can't write it in 30 days, or you can't write it in 8 weeks, or however much time you've agreed to write the screenplay. You will be shocked because you're not training. It's the same thing as an athlete, you wouldn't go run a marathon without training for it. Same thing, in my opinion, in my experience. And so, if you're going to spend the time writing your specs, train yourself now for the hopefully the time that you're going to be hired to write screenplays, and then you'll be much better. But again, yes, you know, coming from a thing that's all I do for a living, but that's where you want to be. And like I say, I better damn well be doing it, you know, 10 hours a day if that's all I do.
And it seems like maybe some jobs are more draining than others. And I know it's easy for me to just say, oh, well, just find a job that's not draining. And I know that's easier said than done. But I think there's certain jobs where you can then have sort of a side other job or / hobby. And then there's other jobs where it just takes you out of it. It's so demanding.
And the thing about that is it's going to take you that much longer. If you can only write on the weekends, how long do you think a screenplay is going to take? It's going to take 6 months. You know, I mean, that's where the time creeps in, and there's so many other distractions and interruptions that come in that 6 months that are dangerous, that will derail you so quickly, and then go, you know, that's where you have to. I would dig deep and say, this is what I want to do, and there's nothing. I mean, that's where the passion and the tenacity come from, that really drives you through all those other, you know, through the minefield. You're going to step on that, you know, that sets you back 3 months. You know, it's really, it's difficult. And yes, you're right, other jobs. When I had worked at the law firm for 2 years, it was draining. And I would come home and then have to write again. But I had and it was even worse because I had a movie go into production while I was at the job. And again, it wasn't enough money to quit. And so I said, I had to excuse myself and say, I'm going to go to the set for a few days this week, because I was an as-needed assistant type position. And that was, again, even years later, a freaky thing going, but why do I have to work at the thing? I got a movie. And then you look at the, yeah, okay, I get it. And then I stayed on it for another year at the firm and do the same thing, come home, make dinner, write, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then I got a call from a production company I'd worked with, and they have a new president of production. And they said, hey, how come we haven't worked with you since the last movie? I said, I don't know. They said, we have this fast track movie. We want you to write. It's a done deal. And I gave my 2-week notice.
Wow.
I was like, this is my kick in my pants that I'm back in without fear. Not like, oh, well, and the money was good at the firm, you know, but I was seeing myself be derailed. And I had a relationship at the time, my girlfriend, and I saw just everything was being derailed. And I thought, well, I could just get into this and, you know, another year go by and blah, blah, blah. So when that call came in from the company, I was like, I got to go. And they were shocked. They were like, well, I guess this is what you do. I said, yeah, this is what I do. I'm a writer. I have to go do writing, and it's a job. So I said, you're always welcome to come back. I said, exactly. But like when I finally quit the restaurant business, when I got my first job, it took 6 years out of film school before I landed my first professional writing job. And I thought when they handed out the diplomas, they were going to give me a 2-picture deal. You know, oh, thank you very much. Oh, look at this. 6 years. And that's not for lack of writing and specs and all that stuff. I finally landed a job. So I gave the notice at the restaurant, and they were like, huh. They didn't quite understand. And they were like, so, and how long is this job for? I go, no, I'm out. O-U-T, not coming back. I said, appreciate, there's never again will I step foot. And I didn't. I mean, I did catering, but that was sort of like less of a, you know, you're at different places. But I was never going to work. I worked 10 years in a restaurant. I did many odd jobs in my life. I say in the book, many different jobs that you have to, but it was all about facilitating me being able to stick with my dream. Whatever the job was, as long as it allowed me to continue, I didn't care. You know, it wasn't embarrassing or, you know, it was just like, you have to do what you have to do.
It reminds me of the movie I just watched, It's a Wonderful Life. So Jimmy Stewart just thinks I'm going to, you know, go off and see the world and then go be an architect, and then gets sucked back in for 2 years or 4 years at the bank. And,
yep.
You know, and it keeps life changed for him.
It's hard.
You know?
It really is hard, yeah. But as I say it's hard, I'm living proof that it does happen, and there's no guarantees, but I always say the only guarantee in screenwriting is that if you stop writing, you're definitely guaranteed never to have any chance at success. So as long as you're in the game, you have a shot.